We've been talking a while about how this is going to be a very busy summer for Major League Soccer after the 2026 World Cup. And there's going to be a lot of big names that are going to be making their move to America and joining several clubs throughout the entire league. Now, one of these clubs have been rumored with two big names has been the Chicago Fire, as they've recently been rumored with Robert Lewandowski, the Polish legend, right? Maybe the best striker of his generation, and Leon Goretzka, the German national, who this would be a great duo signing for MLS and more specifically the Chicago Fire. Now, the question is, are they going to be able to get these deals across the line? Hey, real quick, if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're growing like crazy. The World Cup is among us, and we have a lot of content you guys are not going to want to miss. So also make sure you guys hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. All right, guys, special guest today, Alex. Appreciate you for hopping on, my friend. A lot of movement going on during the summer for a couple MLS teams, and I feel like it's kind of going under the radar because the World Cup is obviously at the main talking point at this moment. It's got everybody's attention, but some MLS teams are making movement. It's more specifically the Chicago Fire, which is a team you cover very extensively. So we'll talk about a couple moves that they have lined up and how they're going to make it work. But before we get into that, how are we doing, my friend, and how are we enjoying the World Cup so far?
Oh, it's good. The World Cup's great. I'm actually leaving tomorrow morning, and I'll be away for 12 days following some World Cup. So very excited for that. I've been waiting a very long time for this. But in terms of the Chicago Fire, it's exciting times. I think the Chicago Fire for about 6 months have been a part of the global transfer news circles, and that's really exciting as someone who's been covering the team. This is my 5th season, so it wasn't always this exciting, let's just say. So
yeah, things are changing. They hired Gregg Berhalter, which there's a lot of people that are split on him, but either way, they tried to do something, hire someone with a decent resume, at least from an MLS perspective. They announced their new stadium, and now they're trying to sign some big name players. So let's get into the first guy that they were trying to sign, the biggest name of the two, which is Robert Lewandowski. Alex, this is a guy that we've been hearing they've been rumored with for a couple years now. And it makes a lot of sense, especially because they have a huge Polish community, or at least I think they still do in Chicago. And Robert Lewandowski is a household name. Are you surprised that this is, I mean, I don't know if it's officially happening yet. It looks like that's what the signs are pointing to, but are you surprised that they are likely to get this deal done? And where does it currently stand with the Fire and Lewandowski?
No, I mean, well, first of all, nothing's done yet. It's not a done deal. He's back in Poland right now. He had a 2.5-day visit here over the weekend to check it out, see the facilities, meet Greg, speak with Frank Klopas, all the other guys around the club, so his wife could see some stuff as well. So it's not done yet, but it is feeling very good. There's a lot of optimism with the Fire that he's going to make the decision to come here to MLS. I'm not a surprise because this is something that's been kind of in the background for a very, very long time. Like when Messi signed for Miami, we learned about how Moss had those relationships with Messi, with his family going back 3-4 years. This goes back to 2023, to be honest. So this has always been a possibility. And when Gregg Berhalter came in end of 2024, that did not change. When it was clear in about January that he was probably going to be leaving Barcelona at the end of the season, his contract was expiring. That's when things really kicked into motion. And look, Berhalter has wanted to bring in a big star. I know last time I was on your show, I mentioned that as well, that he's been kind of saving one DP slot reserved for a global superstar. He tried for Neymar, tried for Bernardo Silva, Mo Salah. Those didn't happen. And Lewandowski's on that list as well. And this one, feels like it's very, very close. We'll see what happens.
Were you worried at all when Lewandowski was supposed to make an appearance at that event with the fans and Berhalter, and then I guess there's a scheduling conflict and he ended up not making it? Did that kind of worry you initially, thinking maybe this might not be as close as we think it is?
No. So basically he was only here 2 days, so he was trying to do as much as he possibly could, see a lot of people, talk to a lot of people. I know he had dinner with some prominent people within the club by the Chicago River a couple of days ago while he was here. So, I think that takes precedent over talking to the fans of a team he hasn't signed for yet. I mean, it was one of those things where like things could have changed last second. He could have shown up, didn't end up happening. But the word is every single person is pretty optimistic about this. I think there's no correlation between him not showing up and that meaning that things are not going well in this conversation.
So if he does sign, I think Robert Lewandowski is either 38 years old or he'll be 38 very shortly. I know it's close if he's not already. The rumors were maybe a 2 or 3 year deal, right? Something along those lines, I think is what it's out there, something like that. Would you expect? I mean, I'm assuming he probably would be, but it's just the age. It's kind of like maybe has me questioning a little bit. But do you think he would probably be the second highest paid player in the league?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be around 15 million US dollars. Probably bonuses would bring it up to 20, 22. So unless I'm mistaken, that's clearly number 2 behind Messi. But yeah, my estimation is it's going to probably be a 3-year deal. If not, then it would be a 2+1. They definitely want to get him there for the opening of the new stadium in 2028. That's part of the sell, is that the new stadium is coming. So I would be shocked if it was anything less than 2, but 3 would be my guess. He turns 38 in about 2 months. I believe his birthday is August 21st. So that would take it till he's turning 41. So that would make sense. I mean, he's not the kind of player who can't play into his 40s. His play style is not dependent upon his pace, stuff like that. So he's someone I could definitely see playing until he's 42 if he wants to at a reasonably high level, even if he's not a global superstar at that age in terms of his playing ability. But yeah, I don't think there's any concerns about his age because, yeah, he's not a kind of player that, like Cristiano Ronaldo's similar style in some ways, that he's not dependent upon things. He's very dependent upon his mental stuff, his playmaking as well. So, yeah.
It's a good comparison because actually Ronaldo signed with Al Nassr at the same exact age as what Lewandowski would be signing with the Chicago Fire. Would you consider this? I know you're a little younger, but I know you've been covering the Fire. Not even if you've only been doing it professionally for 5 years. I know you've been following the team like pretty much most of your life. Would you say it's the biggest signing in club history?
Yeah, I would say it definitely is. I mean, I've been in Chicago 12 years, so since 2014. I would say this is definitely much bigger than Schweinsteiger was in 2017, definitely bigger than Xherdan Shaqiri was in 2022. Obviously, I wasn't in Chicago yet, and I was very young when Cuauhtemoc Blanco signed, but I would say it probably eclipses all that, simply because Lewandowski is one of the greatest strikers of all time. Schweinsteiger was very, very good. He was world-class at his peak. He won the World Cup 3 years before coming here, but no one's talking about him as like a top 10 midfielder of all time. And the same goes obviously for Shaqiri, for Cuauhtemoc Blanco. Stoichkov was 2000, so it was a very different league back then. But yeah, I would say definitely this is the biggest signing in club history if it happens.
So let's move on to the second guy, right? Now, this is the one I think that kind of really got people surprised, and that's, Leon Goretzka. He's only 31 years old. He plays for Bayern Munich. He's playing for Germany in the World Cup right now as we speak. When did you catch wind of this when everyone else did, or did you kind of hear this behind the scenes that they maybe were maybe trying to work something out with him?
This is something that's kind of been bubbling under the radar for a little bit. He was here with the German national team. They were playing the friendly against the US here on June 6th, and they were here the whole week leading up to that. And basically, I spent a bit of time around the German team during that build-up, and everything was positive. It was not just an example of, oh, yeah, we loved our hosts. It was like public and private. Everybody from the German national team fell in love with Chicago. So to hear that a player who was there, who is a free agent now, who has a big resume in Europe, is interested in coming to the Chicago Fire potentially. Not a shock at all. And yeah, Goretzka is not at the level of staying at a big club like Bayern. He's accomplished all there is to accomplish in European football. He won a Champions League with Bayern. He's won numerous Bundesliga titles, DFB Pokal. So his German national team career will be done after this World Cup. I have no doubt about it. I don't really see a way he continues on given the quantity of young talent coming up in that position. So there's really not much of a benefit for him to staying in Europe. He's probably going to make more money. No, we don't really know how the contracts will be structured, but he'll probably make more money here than he would. And, like I said, I didn't hear a single negative thing from the German camp about Chicago, and not just like in the press conference. I mean, like just talking to them. So, yeah, it sounds like it's positive, and I would not be shocked if that happens. Though, as has been reported, there will be European interest for him as well. It's just that European interest will not be from a team like Bayern. It will be from a team like Schalke or Werder Bremen, and you have to evaluate, is it worth it to stay in Germany or in Europe to play at that level when you could be living in the US and bringing your family over there?
I think the thing that caught me most off guard with this was just his age. I do agree with you that he's going to be phased out of the national team, and he probably is winding down, his Bayern career. Like, I don't think he's in the plans for them. Maybe he'd be a bench player, he'd be a depth player if he were to stay. I don't think they really want to keep him.
I mean, he's gone.
Yeah, so I don't think that they're making him really a priority to try to resign, right? I think that they're kind of just like letting him go.
So he's on the open market, so it's not a surprise to see that the Fire would go in for him.
Yeah, well, I think my shock on it is just the 31, maybe him trying to sign with another European team, just because 31, that really isn't the typical age of a player that comes over here. I mean, we're talking about Lewandowski, who, by the way, way different player, way better player. You said generational talent, but he's also 7 years older than Goretzka, right? So I would think of Goretzka as a guy who would come over here at 33, 34, 35. Getting him at 31, I still think he's very good. And obviously coming to Major League Soccer, he'd be one of the best midfielders in the league. I think this would be a very good signing. This would maybe even excite me more from a longevity standpoint for the Fire, just because of his age. He could play for the team for 5 years possibly, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that getting him at 31 would be like pairing these two together, signing them for the Fire this summer would be the biggest summer window in Chicago Fire history, biggest transfer window in history. And we're talking about one where they had Schweinsteiger, Nikolic, Dax McCarty. That was a very good window, and they made the playoffs for the first time in like 7 years. This would eclipse that for me, Alex.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think there's a case to be made that if they do get Lewandowski and Goretzka in the same window, it would probably be the best or second best window in the history of the league, after the one where Inter Miami got Messi, Alba, and Busquets all at once. So, yeah, I mean, it's very exciting. I think, like I said, Goretzka has really gone under the radar because all the craze is around Lewandowski. And his decision won't come till after the World Cup, or at least Germany's running the World Cup. But I'm very intrigued by both. My only question is really, how do they fit it DP structure-wise?
Yeah,
I know from what I've heard from conversations that I'm aware are going on, it's not simple. Like, it's not as simple as, oh yeah, we have that already figured out. It's a thing they're going to need to figure out if they get both Goretzka and Lewandowski, which, like I said, not certain. But so that I will say, to be determined if both these signings happen. They'll cross that bridge when they come to it. That is not figured out yet. But yeah.
well, so let me ask you this real quick, and then I do want to get to the rules and how they would fit this under, because they already have 2 DPs right now, and you only have 3 per team. Would signing both of them propel them into I don't want to say favorites of the East, but like, would you consider them to almost be the favorites of the East if they sign Lewandowski and they sign Goretzka? Like, does that put them essentially at the top of the Eastern Conference?
I agree. I think if they do get both these guys, the expectation is that they will be in the MLS Cup conversation. I think the 2 top teams in MLS, between a combination of form, quality, roster, are Nashville and Miami, and Chicago Fire are up there with them as the top 3 teams in MLS, and they're all in the East, of course. But those are the top 3 teams in MLS if these 2 both come. If just Lewandowski comes, I think there's probably still number 3, but it's a clear number 3 as opposed to these are the 3, if that makes sense, and pick your order.
No, I definitely agree with that. One last question about Goretzka. If they do sign him, like I said, he's 31 years old, so I would assume it would be a longer deal than Lewandowski. It'd probably be like a 3, a 4, maybe even 5 year deal, even if there's a club or player option. This is an interesting one, Alex. Would you say that he like? I'm just kind of thinking of like what they paid Shaqiri and stuff, and I think that maybe that's like a similar level, or maybe he's better than Shaqiri. He was definitely more consistent than Shaqiri. Do you think Goretzka would be almost paid like 10 million a year annually? I feel like he would
Oh,
almost have to be to
no
come here,
chance.
right? You
No
you don't
chance.
think
I
so?
think he'd be a fraction of that. I think
Really?
he'd be significantly less than Shaqiri, to be honest. Um,
Even with European competition and maybe some Saudi teams courting him as well? Hey everyone, quick word from our sponsor, FanDuel. If you're into soccer like I am, you already know how exciting La Liga, the Premier League, and MLS matches can get. With FanDuel, you can make it even more fun by placing bets on your favorite teams and matches across all three leagues. Whether it's a Premier League showdown, a La Liga thriller, or an MLS game with your local club, FanDuel makes it easy and exciting to bet on what you watch. Just remember, you have to be 21 years or older to play. Please bet responsibly and only if you're of legal age and in a state where it's allowed. Download the FanDuel app or head over to fanduel.com, sign up, and get in on the action. Thanks for supporting the channel through FanDuel.
yeah, I mean, I don't think he's as in demand from any top teams that can pay that kind of money is the thing with him. I mean, he was completely benched the entire second half of the season for Bayern. He was getting spot minutes here and there, which I think tanked his value a lot. And him being a free agent as well in MLS, because there's no transfer fee, that's a big benefit when you're trying to get him under the cap. So I don't know what his designation is going to be, but I would say his salary, my estimation would be significantly less than the 8 million they paid Shaqiri.
Really? Okay. So let's talk about how they would fit him under. Okay.
Mhm.
So the CBA doesn't end until the 2027 season, which I was told since they changed the schedule, it's going to be after the sprint season. Then CBA is going to be over. Then they'll negotiate a new deal, and then that will carry on into the new calendar year. So currently they have two DPs, Hugo Kuipers and Jonathan Bamba. Are they okay? You said that they don't really know what they're going to do right now, but if you just had to guess, would they try to maneuver probably Goretzka is like maybe a TAM player like in the short term, or do you think they're probably going to have to move off one of their DPs?
My guess in the short term, and this is pure speculation, is they would find a way to make Goretzka a TAM for the season. But that I have to emphasize is pure speculation. I
Yeah.
have no idea what they're going to do, and I don't think anything is set in stone because Goretzka's it's not close to done or anything. No decision is going to be made till after the World Cup for him. But look, you have Bamba. He's a DP. He has 2 years left. Kuipers only has 1 year left on his contract. I don't think he's a fan of this move. I'll be honest with you. I know he'll say publicly that he doesn't care about the headlines, but if you're the guy who was brought in as the club record signing to be the star number 9, have the team built around you, I don't know how you feel about an actual global superstar number 9 coming in to take the spotlight. So we'll see.
Well, Kuipers obviously has a higher transfer value than I think Bamba because he's been playing very well the last couple seasons with the Fire. If Alex, if you were at the helm, you were the general manager of Chicago, who would you get rid of? Just based on like fitting, with the new players or value, like who would you, if you had to make the decision to get rid of one of the DPs, which one would you get rid of?
I mean, if you asked me in January, I would have said Kuipers because over his first 2 seasons in MLS, he was not very efficient in front of goal. He would still miss 1 or 2 big chances a game. But this season, that has not been the case, and he's been remarkably efficient. So it's really, really tough to say that. Bamba's a tough one because he's missed a couple games for personal reasons, and they've been pretty fine without him. And Martin Haile-Selassie has had an amazing season. So it's a really, really tough decision if you have to pick one of those two. I would probably lean toward Bamba if there are suitors for him, just because I think 2 strikers can work. But we'd have to see. I think the Fire have gotten calls. No, actually, I know the Fire have gotten calls about Hugo Kuipers from within the league should they go out and sign Lewandowski. So there could be a huge market potentially for a cash for player transfer. should the Fire decide to move on from Kuipers, or should Kuipers push to leave. But I don't know that that's what's going to happen. I think Berhalter has reiterated that he really does think Lewandowski and Kuipers can play together, and he's done a front two in the last 3 games. So with Robin Lod as the second one. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, yeah, I'd be curious to see how it all works together. One more thing I have to ask you. So this is obviously would be an incredible transfer window for the team, just signing these 2 players. Do you expect them to be active in other, positions, maybe center back, or maybe some depth in another place? Maybe is there anything else you think they might try to go for, or possibly sell a player like Chris Brady, which I don't think that's going to happen this window because they like to have him the rest of the year. But do you see anything like that happening?
I don't think so. I think unless you get an offer you can't refuse for Mbakazeli and Bokazi, I don't think there's any chance you really see much more movement in this window. Maybe somebody leaves, but center back, they're completely set. They have the best center back group in MLS, in my opinion, because you have a Canadian international, Joel Waterman, on the bench, and the best center back prospects of recent memory in the United States as your 4th choice center back. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So I don't see any chance there's much movement there. In midfield, they're also, if they get Goretzka, they're more than set, because then they'll have Anton Saletros on the bench, a Swedish international who just missed the World Cup team. So I think they're deeper than they've ever been in the history of the club. So if they get Goretzka and Lewandowski, there are 2 players who raise the ceiling substantially. And the fact that your current starters who are doing well, like Mauricio Pineda is doing well, he can go to the bench and that'll be fine. Fine by him, fine by the club. I don't think they really have any other holes to patch up. And I don't think they have any holes to patch up, period. So if they sign those 2 players, those raise the ceiling a lot. And I don't think you need to sell anybody unless it's for roster or cap compliance reasons.
Yeah, I think my preseason prediction was they were going to finish second in the East, and I'm feeling pretty good about that if they get these over the line, right? I think that's definitely going to help them out. Alex, this is going to be an interesting summer, man, not just for the Fire, but probably for Major League Soccer in general. I think there's going to be a lot of moves, and this has kind of been the plan all along to try to capitalize off the World Cup. So it's going to be very exciting times ahead. Before I let you go, and I appreciate you for coming on, can you tell everyone where they can follow you at so they can keep up with the latest news on all the Chicago Fire signings and just what's going on with the team?
Yeah, Twitter's the best place to do it. It's amcalabrese12, like my name. And you can find that very easily. But also, meninred97.com. Every time there's a big story, we'll have stuff there. And at meninred97 on Twitter as well. So, yeah, check that all out. And anything that develops with the Chicago Fire, if there's substance to it, you'll see me talking about it. If I'm not talking about it, it means there's a pretty good chance there's no substance there. So,
yeah, in German too. I saw your Goretzka post the other day. You were addressing it in German, so you're hitting all the bases, man. You're covering all avenues. So yeah, make sure you guys go follow him. I've been following him for a very long time. He does great work. And Alex, it's been a pleasure to have you, my friend. And hopefully, when they get these over the line, we can have you on to talk about how the team looks when it's officially set in stone.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully, we'll be talking again very, very soon about 2 of the most exciting signings of the season in MLS.
Yes. Well, I appreciate it, my friend. And guys, if you enjoy this video, make sure you give us a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.